Hello everybody, we are back with another video. Today doing my top 10 movies of all time. Last video we did Lauren's top 10 movies, and I think it was met with pretty good reception. Some good comments, people leaving some of their favorites, but also complaining that Flicka shouldn't have been on Lauren's list.
Oh, come on.
So, no love for horses. But I'm happy to say that Flicka is not on my list. But I would also say that there are a few surprises on my top 10 movies. Now, Vintage Video Game Geek actually tweeted at me earlier in the week saying that there's just going to be a bunch of Disney movies on this list. I'm here to tell you guys that there are no Disney movies and there are no Pixar movies. Oddly enough, there's actually not one animated movie on the list. I made sure to not have any Disney or Pixar because I already have a top 10 Disney movie video out, and Pixar, we're going to do that in the future. So, without further ado, let's get to number 10, which is one of my favorite Halloween movies. And crazy enough, the title is literally Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween. Just one of the most iconic, memorable, recognizable villains is Michael Myers. And I just love how his character, there's so much mystery behind him because you don't really know why he is the way he is, why he wanted to kill everyone in his family. Because in the beginning of the first movie, he literally the movie starts with his sister and her boyfriend messing around, going upstairs, and he grabs a kitchen knife and goes and kills them. And then he, escapes from prison 15 years later, whatever it is, and goes after Jamie Lee Curtis. So, love that movie. The music is just so perfect. Just the title theme is just so recognizable. And then even, when the lights go on, it's like, just all these crazy sound effects that I think are just, it really is the definitive Halloween movie. So, actually, Lauren and I watched it for the first time this past Halloween, so...
Yeah, I'm not a huge scary movie person, but I thought it was really great.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
Awesome stuff. Coming in at number 9 is actually one that people are probably not going to be happy with me about, because, first off, I'm a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan. He's probably my biggest man crush. Love all of his movies. I've seen the vast majority of them, and people would probably think, oh, well, he's got to go Django Unchained, or he's got to go Inception, or, what? No. None of those, actually. It is...
Titanic?
Yeah, it is Titanic.
Yes.
So, I know people think it's like a super sappy movie and everything, but James Cameron, that is just such a legendary movie, and it really put both Leo and Kate Winslet on the map. I know Leo had some earlier movies, too, with What's Eating Gilbert Grape and stuff like that. But beginning to end, I love Titanic. I love the story. I love the romance between Jack and Rose. I just don't really think there's been a romance on screen that's really been able to capture the chemistry that they had. And even Leo and Kate Winslet on screen and off, I think, share really great chemistry.
And he went through a phase a couple weeks ago where he would only watch Leonardo DiCaprio movies. He came home with 5 new movies and just marathon them. Yeah,
I love him. He's a great guy, and he's an activist for animal rights and basically saving our planet because we're doing horrible things to it. So he's actually a really great guy. But yeah, I love that movie so much. Even the music, I just everything about it. So big fan. Coming in at number 8 is an 80s classic, and it's The Breakfast Club. Another movie that I can just watch over and over and over again. I would say I probably watch it at least once a year.
It's a great movie. I don't know if we've actually watched that together.
I don't believe we have. Yeah, but just there's so many memorable quotes in that movie. Even the casting, I think, is great with Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, and Molly Ringwald. But 80s classic, one of my favorites. Another great soundtrack. And just a great story, so...
It's a great coming-of-age
It really is.
movie, too.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Number 7 is the only superhero movie that I have on here. Christopher Nolan directed Batman, The Dark Knight. So, oh yeah, she's wearing Batman pajama pants over here. Which used to be mine at some point in my life, but
then you got married.
Yeah,
they became mine.
Exactly. But The Dark Knight, what an incredible film! Hans Zimmer did the orchestrated soundtrack for that. Beautiful soundtrack. The movie itself is just so dark, and Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker is just second to none. No one will be able to have a repeat performance like his.
Yeah.
He completely engrossed himself in the character, became the Joker for the time that they filmed the movie, and just the way that he portrayed the Joker was just perfect for me, I thought.
Yeah.
And even Christian Bale as Batman, he's probably my favorite Batman. Certainly, I mean, I haven't seen Justice League and stuff, but I love the way that he played Batman. And that movie, just from beginning to end, I loved. I felt like they kind of dragged it on with Harvey Dent and the way that he kind of came into it. But just the darkness of the film, yeah, everything about it also was just very, very well done. Saw it 3 times in theaters. I have a bunch of posters back at my old house of the Joker and Batman. So just a great, great movie. Coming in at number 6 is a movie you've not seen yet, but one I definitely want us to watch. One of our very good friends, it's actually his favorite movie of all time, and he introduced it to me a few years ago when I was in college, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo. Now, this is a tale of redemption and just justice, and I don't really know how else to describe it, but it was based on a famous classic literary novel. I don't even want to pretend to pronounce the French author. It's like Alexandre Dumas or something like that. But just a really, really great tale of redemption and not even so much just revenge, but just the way the tale unfolds. Someone's wrongly put in jail, and it's just their tale of escaping and then going after the person that wronged them. And then the way he gets them back, he's just so patient with the way he does it, and it's so well planned that it's just an excellent, excellent movie.
And we also just found like a vintage comic of it too, and gave it to that guy.
Gave it to my friend, yeah. But it's just a wonderful movie, and I can never pronounce his name. It's Jim Caviezel, or however you pronounce it. Guy Ritchie, I believe, is in it, and believe it or not, Richard Harris, who is the original Dumbledore, and he was in Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and then I forget who took over, but for the rest of the Harry Potter movies. But yeah, he was in it as well, and he plays a really great role. He's in the prison actually with them, and yeah, it's a great movie, so we'll definitely have to watch it.
See it.
Yeah. Coming in at number 5 is what I would consider to be a modern Godfather, one I know you've not seen, and that is speaking of Leonardo DiCaprio, The Departed. Just a complete all-star cast. I mean, you have Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio, and plenty of other people. I mean, it's just crazy how many people they fit into the film, but then also the way it unfolds, especially like the last 20 minutes, are just mind-boggling. It's Martin Scorsese directed the film, so he did like the Wolf of Wall Street.
I give him a hard time because he says wolf without the
L.
The L, so he just says like wolf.
And it's Rudolph.
Like,
it's not Rudolph.
No.
It's Rudolph.
No.
It's always been Rudolph. But yeah, Martin Scorsese directed the movie. Just an amazing gangster film, very much like The Godfather, but just like a modern take on it almost.
Definitely need to see it.
Lots of twists and turns, stuff that you would never see coming. And I'm pretty sure they say the F word in that movie more than any other movie. So,
I mean, Matt Damon's in it, so it has to be wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's pretty intense, but it's a great, great movie. Definitely one of my favorites. Coming in at number 5. Number 4 is my favorite Harry Potter movie, and it is the same as Lauren's, and that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Again, I just love the introduction of Sirius Black, and I love how it became a lot darker from there on out, I think, for the Harry Potter movies. And yeah, just one of my favorite movies. Definitely one I feel like I can pick up and watch any of the Harry Potter movies at any time. But 3 especially is probably my go-to.
There's so much character development, and they really become like their own.
Yeah, and I feel like the characters mature a lot more in that movie. Both literally mature, but also just like as characters, and just the decisions they make and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely my favorite Harry Potter movie. And number 3 is another favorite in a series of movies, and that's Star Wars. Now, for a long time, I would say that my favorite Star Wars movie, like most people, was The Empire Strikes Back. recently I watched the 3 original trilogy movies, and I would have to say that Return of the Jedi is now my favorite. And I would say, more than anything, now, people give the Ewoks a lot of flack. I like the Ewoks. I have nothing against them. They're little cute bears. I mean, like, how could you not like them? But one of the main reasons why I like it is Luke, how he recognizes the good in his father. Mm. And he continually presses into that and pulls that out of him until the end of the movie when the Emperor is killing Luke and he's just agonizingly screaming for his father's help, and Vader literally picks up the Emperor and throws him down that pit.
Yeah.
And literally, you know, he holds Vader as he dies. He pulls off his helmet and he's like, you know, let me see you with my own eyes, you know, son. And it's just such a heart-wrenching moment in Star Wars history, but also just like, it just makes me feel so good because you see the progression of Anakin Skywalker to Vader and how he became so angry and evil to then how he came back to the light because of his son pursuing him. Yeah. And I love that. And you see that through the progression of the Return of the Jedi, the entire movie. And I love that so much. And then just the celebration at the end with the Ewoks and Han and Leia, and they're all together. And then... well,
it's a redemption of him as well.
Yeah, it totally is. And also, when I saw Force Awakens, I didn't really realize or understand why Vader's mask was all deformed when Kylo was looking at it. Yeah. But it's totally because Luke brings his father's body back with his suit, and they burn him. Because, you know, that's like the ceremonial way of sending someone off. Mm. And since they burn him, obviously his mask would be as deformed as it was. Mm. I'm hoping, though, in Last Jedi we figure out how Kylo got the mask, I'm assuming, when he took over the temple and Knights of Ren, but stuff like that. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. The Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, and it is also my number 3 movie of all time. We're getting into the top 2. We already know number 1, so this is probably the only real surprise here. But not a surprise to most people, because I would say this, in most top movies of all time, this is on the list, and that is The Shawshank Redemption. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a movie you just recently watched, actually on our honeymoon. Yep. We watched it. We watched half of it on the plane, and then half of it when we got back. And I guess before I get into my thoughts, what did you think of it?
I loved it. I've seen pieces over the years, but just, again, his patience in
absolutely.
Waiting while he knew he was, spoilers, while he knew he was innocent, and just the relationships that he built in prison.
Yeah, especially with Red, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, and then just kind of even like Morgan Freeman's walk after being let out, and kind of how prison just shaped him. So that's all he knew, and that's kind of what had defined him for so many years, that he had to find like himself again post prison life. I loved it.
And I think that's maybe one of the best parts about the movie is that it's a very accurate depiction of prison mates and how if they're in there for so long, that becomes all they know. Yeah. And when they're out, they almost don't even know what to do with themselves. Yeah. And in the case of the old man, I totally forget his name. He inscribes his name on the top of the thing. But he ends up killing himself because he just doesn't know how to handle himself outside of the world. And I'm sure now, I honestly do not know. There has to be some kind of rehabilitation program to help prison mates reacclimate and stuff.
Even just like taking classes in prison, I think helps them be prepared for jobs afterwards. But especially at that age, you don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just an unbelievable movie. Talk about redemption and just similar to Count of Monte Cristo, someone that's just wrongly accused, and he eventually escapes. You know, and just the freedom, the moment that he escapes and he's rips off his shirt and he's just like has his hands up like this. It's just pouring down rain. It's just an unbelievable moment. But I think the defining moment in the movie is definitely when him and Red reunite on the beach, and then they're on the boat and everything. So just an amazing, amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, I'd be really surprised if anyone watching this hasn't. But if you have not, please watch that movie. It's unbelievable. And finally, my favorite movie of all time, no surprise, Legally Blonde. It's just been my favorite movie forever. Reese Witherspoon. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually not too bad of a movie. But Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite movie of all time for so many reasons. I've gone over them in all my videos pretty much. I talk about Lord of the Rings at least once in every one of my videos. But if you have not seen Lord of the Rings, then just unsubscribe from my channel because You just don't even deserve to be a follower of mine.
Just watch them.
No, I'm just kidding. But Lord of the Rings, I love it. Just my favorite movie of all time. And so those are my top 10 movies of all time. I believe pretty well-rounded list.
Great movies.
Like Lauren's. But let me know your top 10 movies of all time. Always very, very interested to hear some of your favorites and the different tastes here in the community. So feel free to drop a comment. Lauren and I have more videos planned very soon that we're very excited about. So we will see you all very soon. Ready?
Okay, got those stretches. Oh, okay, breaking my back.
It's breaking the back.
Yeah.
It's my hat. I feel like my hat looks like weirdo.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's going straight up.
Is it? Like the alfalfa?
Yeah. You can go sideways. Oh, I think it looks good.
Okay.